Very good evening, ladies and gents. Thank you for joining us. I belong to a department, I belong to a business unit, which is responsible for delivering training and certification to our customers across India and South Asia and Asia Pacific region at large. And what is that we do? We are responsible for building the content, building the curriculum, in other words, which can help our customers understand our technology better. Now, there are many ways of understanding technology, and one of the best ways in understanding a technology is let an expert talk about that technology and demonstrate that technology so that my customers' engineers will make better sense out of it. So that's nothing but training. So to deliver training, you need to have content, you need to have curriculum, in other words. And I also belong to the same business unit, which is responsible for not just delivering training alone. We are also into certification. Most of you, I believe, belonging to technical schools, you know what an IT certification would mean. Any vendor of the technology would do an assessment of a professional, and they certify that, all right, this lady or this gentleman is fit enough to handle our technology at this expertise level, at a specific level. So that's what certification would mean. So I'm here to talk about the outcome-based education implementation in IT training, and what do we do, Red Hat, in terms of content and in terms of assessment of the professionals. I'm here to talk about implementation of OBE, and it's not a new thing for us. We have been doing it for past 20, 25 years. Before we go right into the content and the assessment part, just a bit about who are we, what are we, what do we do? So for the uninitiated, Red Hat is an IBM company, and we are a software company. Just in case if you are not aware, we build open source software which is ready to be delivered to enterprise customers. And I hope you, coming from technical background, at least most of you who are on this call coming from technical background, would understand what open source is. So open source software, many people speak about open source software as a hobbyist, as a fun, as a casual, as a chaotic way of building software. But we make it available to the enterprise, and that's what Red Hat does. And we are a $3 billion US company with around 16,000 employees spread across 40 plus countries. I would not want to spend a lot of time on what Red Hat is, but on the left-hand side of the slide, you see that more than 90% of the Fortune 500 companies use Red Hat solutions. That's a responsibility on us in terms of building the workforce, building the skills required for our customers or for the industry who uses Red Hat solutions and Red Hat software, Red Hat product. And that is where we come from as a business unit for training and certification. And that's what our experience lies, and that's what our responsibility are. Just to give you an idea about how different sectors or industries are using Red Hat solutions. So 100% of Fortune 500 companies in retail, in telco, in media, and commercial banks, 100% of Fortune 500, global Fortune 500 companies rely on Red Hat solutions or technologies in one form or the other. This is just to, this is not a company presentation. This is not about Red Hat. But these two slides I've just added just to give a picture of what customers expect from us. Now, when it comes to Red Hat training, and this is what our customers would have to say. Now, there is a reason why I brought a couple of these slides in here, because one, customer expect a great deal of technology to be taught when they take a training. And it's not just about great deal of technology stuffed inside a program. It's also about how it is delivered. That is where this crowd becomes very relevant for the further conversation I would have in the next 30, 45 minutes. I understand that this is an FDP, a faculty development program, and the center of, or the priority, or the way training or sharing of knowledge works, it's all centered on who delivers it. And no better avenue than faculty development program for me to talk about how, as instructors, we play a very pivotal role in terms of breaking the barriers in the way of conventionally delivering a technology to our customers. Your customers could be the students who would like to learn and pick up a technology so that they become employable, they become industry ready, they become market ready. So this is more about the way we deliver, the way we develop the content, the way we design the content, the way we revamp the content, and the way we deliver the content. So I would like to say that the technical instructors who deliver the content plays a very major role. Of course, it has to do with the content, it has to do with the coverage of the content, it has to do with the quality of the content. But I would also like to not discount at all the relevance and significance of an instructor who delivers this. And while Sijan was doing my intro, he mentioned that I'm an instructor, and I still, even though I don't find much time in teaching, but I would still love to spend some time, maybe a couple of weeks and 6 months or so teaching, and that I just added this point here that I stand along with you as one among you when it comes to sharing knowledge and teaching a technology and making somebody understand. So coming back to the topic, I diverted a bit, because whenever I talk about instructors, teachers, I get a little excited about it. So yeah, so why Red Hat training, and why do customers choose our training? The speciality of Red Hat training is that it delivers real world skills, right? So it's not just about mugging some things up and reproducing it somewhere on a piece of paper or something of that sort. It's more of a hands-on approach. I will go into a lot of details later. And we also have certification program. As I said, I represent that business unit. And the certification program is a validation of, or the assessment of skills to use a specific technology. And in this case, it's a Red Hat technology. Well, I'll skip the testimonials and other stuff which you find on the slide. And there are reasons why our customers look forward to having their engineers trained, and very interesting findings. And I thought I will share this with you. So there are many reasons why people would opt for a training, and it was found that the IT resources which were deployed in a data center, today data center is not anymore a physical data center. It could be on the cloud, it could be a hybrid cloud. So IT resources deployed 59% faster, with trained professionals relative to untrained. So that shows the importance of skill. And certified professional organizations, with Red Hat certified professionals, organizations have achieved 47% more VMs per IT staff member. This is an indicator of what role does the skilled professionals play in the industry for the benefit of their employer, and why industry would choose the certified people. Of course, 23 to 51% faster deployment of IT infrastructure. Now, yet another interesting thing. Red Hat trained employees, they stay 8% longer, and certified employees, they stay 10% longer with a company. That's an interesting finding, right? And that's why I just put it here. It's not just about knowing technology. It's also about having that confidence about the work which you do. Now, these slides, I have included these slides just to show, as I've told, the importance of skilling somebody on any topic, whatever that is. Since I belong to an IT domain, and since I belong to that department, which is into training and certification, I thought I will share my experiences with you based on the surveys which we have done with our partners, with our customers, and then what our findings have been. So this will actually have or give you an idea about what is the criticality of the role which we play. Now, even if I take a few steps back, I mean, these slides may look like, oh, this is for the industry, this is for the professionals who are on the job. It's not always the case, right? We also have responsibility as members of the faculty. We also have the responsibility of making our students job ready, or making our students employable, and they would be looking for the same quality in our students as well. And coming to my agenda right now, what's that I am going to talk about? I would be, as I've said, in the beginning of the presentation, I would be talking about two aspects of what we deal, or what I deal with. One is about the curriculum. The other part is about the certification. Now, when it comes to the curriculum or the content, I would be talking about how it is designed, how often it is refreshed. This is an important aspect, right? And when I go back to my engineering days, maybe the syllabus, the course curriculum, I don't know, was never ever updated, because I've met many generations of people who have been taking the same subjects in their engineering studies. But why do we do it, and how difficult it is for, if we think conventionally, it will be very difficult. But I'm talking about how relevant the revision of the content is, and also how do we deliver it, right? I mean, having a high class content really is not going to help unless we instructors deliver it to our customers, deliver it to our students. So I would like to very briefly touch upon the content design, the content revision, and the content delivery. Maybe I'll spend a little more time on the delivery aspect. Moving to design. Now, how do we build our courses, right? So the content design is inspired by many different facts, right? So one of the major aspects of what makes us design a content or develop a content is based on the actual usage of it. So if let's say we have 50 odd products which comes from our catalog, that doesn't mean that we build courses for all 50 of those products, right? I mean, it depends on how relevant those products are in the industry today. Well, having said that, we have courses which is built for most of our product portfolio, which also deals with different levels of expertise of each of the technology. Let's say, for example, I'm just hoping that you would have heard the name Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is an operating system which runs major data centers today, if you look at. And Red Hat Enterprise Linux as a product can just not be taught with one single course, which talks about Red Hat Enterprise Linux in its entirety. It is not possible at all. We need to cover different levels of expertise. A level 1 system administrator who can deal with the regular mundane tasks of managing an operating system, versus level 2, a more senior system administrator, a level 3, a system engineer. So it's not just about the courses specifically touching only one course touching each technology, but we have different levels of courses itself. Well, coming back, one of the major factors of we building courses is based on what do our customers want, what is the relevance of our technology when it comes to the actual implementation of this at the customer site. The second major factor is the developers of the product themselves. They are the after the customers who use the product, so that we can take input from them and build a course, it also makes sense to go and talk to the developers within the company and also in the open source community, because we just don't have products which is built by our developers alone within Red Hat, because we build open source software. So it's with the larger community we interact with, and then we uh, we take the software from upstream projects, and then we fine tune it, and we offer it to our customers. So which means we have to talk to our developers and find out what new features or what do you think is relevant to be added in the course content. So that makes it more relevant. That makes it more uh, uh, more specific uh, for the customer's use, right? And the support engineers. Well, you know what? When a product is out there in the market, one of the best set of people who can give a feedback to us, saying that how good the product is, how bad the product is, which aspect of the product really sucks, that's the support engineers, because they get calls every hour, every minute. And then when they have an analysis about, oh, this aspect of the product, I have a huge volume of bugs reported and calls coming in, that's where support engineers really help us work on some aspects. And you know what, the way we work, for example, let's say for telco customers, we interact with the specific team of support engineers who take telco customer calls, and we go and analyze, okay, so what are the major areas where you have maximum support tickets raised? And we try to focus our curriculum, which is built for telco, on that technology to cover those aspects. And the support engineers, over a period of 2 quarters or 3 quarters, they come back to us saying that, hey, my customers taking that specific course, which is built for them, has reduced the number of support tickets which was raised from that industry, let's say telco or banking. So support engineers, and also from the learners of the course, the people who have already taken the course, we collect a lot of feedback from the learners themselves. We have a system where very formal feedback is collected about people talking about, hey, I took this course, it is lacking from this aspect, or it is lacking from this angle, it is lacking a few points which would have been useful for my role in the company. And this is how the content is designed. It's not easy, because this involves a lot of back and forth in the content design, but that makes it a valid, and that makes it a relevant content, right? So this is one of the major aspect when it comes to the content design which we do. The content revision, um, as I've said, right, just a while ago, it's not easy to revise. It's not easy to rebuild and revamp our content. It's a task, and we understand that, but we have to keep it relevant, right? We have to keep upgrading our course. We have to listen to our customers' feedback. We have to listen to the learners' feedback and say that, hey, this needs a real revamp, and then maybe a chapter goes down the drain, whichever was built, maybe spending so many months and days by the content developers, and we include something else. So this is also a very key aspect when it comes to a content which can really help something based on a specific outcome being achieved, and keep it up to date. And especially in the IT industry in our world, the software releases just happen, just like that, every week maybe. Well, that is a bit exaggerated, but then that is what the reality is. So we'll have to keep upgrading our content based on what version of the technology which we have released to the market. And this applies to, I think, any content which we build as faculty members. If we work on a content, it really makes it relevant only if it is up to date, and we have to keep up with the speed of many developments which is happening in our world, which is information technology world. So I just took a I was just working today, and then I was thinking about this presentation I was supposed to make in the evening, and I thought, let me just show you something which we work on at this point. Well, I don't want this information to be just like that spread with a lot of people publicly, but this is a screenshot of an actual document which we are working on. We are building a course, and this course is already built, by the way. This is an older version of the same document. But I just wanted to show you a screenshot of a GTM document. Well, GTM expands to go to market. So whenever we build a course, we actually start off by making a go to market document, which has got many relevant information regarding that course. And initially, when we start developing the content, it would be just a basic template. It'll be very skeletal information which is there on the sheet. It may have a title, the number of days, the course length, as you see here. It may be decided, may not have been decided. Maybe it would be written 4/5 days, because we haven't decided on how many days it may take to cover the content, because we are still at the very initial phases of building this new course, right? So and I will not talk about the associated certification at this point, because I talk about certification a little while later into our talk. And also the software versions, sorry, which is used when we teach this course. But I'm not here to talk about, well, this is how the top part of the GTM document would look like. But I would like to draw your attention to something, at the next page of the same document. At this stage, we may not have even designed or thought about what should be the chapters which has to go into this course. But even before that, we would have decided on what should be the outcome of this program. Ignore those, cryptic stuff like tab 3 and stuff like that, because the same document goes to a web team, so that ultimately when the course is built and when it is published on a catalog on the public facing website, the web team also gets to see what has to go. And when it comes to outcome of our products, we define outcomes at 2 levels or 2 different aspects, because our customers could be individual customers, like a college going student or an employee of a software company. But also at the same time, our customers could be our actual enterprise customers who use our product, which could be an organization. So, for example, ICICI Bank as a customer, that's an organization which is a customer to us. And definitely, we define our outcome as an organization. What do you get, or what is that you expect when your people take this training? And also we define an outcome based on an individual looking at it. So if you look at the example here for a course called Red Hat OpenShift Development 1, Introduction to Containers with Podman, that's the title of the program. Well, I'm not getting into details of what containers and what Podman are, but the impact to the organization is what is exactly there, verbatim. If I give it to you, the container-based architecture improves the application reliability, scalability, and facilitates continuous integration and continuous deployment. Now, this first sentence, when it is read by, let's say, a leader, a CTO, it makes a lot of sense to her, because she would be envisioning her company or a technology team to have used or to have attained that level of expertise. And look at the impact on the individual. That's the outcome which we would like to define when an individual takes it. As a result of attending this course, you will understand the foundations of container-based application development. You will be able to run, manage, troubleshoot containerized application. So this is the starting point when we build our courses. At this point, I mean, when I look at the older version of this document, if I scroll up and down, the outline part of this document would still be blank or TBD, to be decided. But even before that, we start off with outcome. Now, this is, I don't know, what do you call it? Reverse engineering? Because you know what is to be achieved or what is the outcome when somebody takes this course, takes this program, and then we decide on how many hours, how many chapters, what content, and that's where the feedback comes into picture, right? I spoke about we speak to our customers, we speak to support engineers, we speak to developers, we speak to, if this is not a new course, if it's not a net new course, if it had older versions, we talk to the learners, we go through the surveys, we analyze it, and then we build the content. But before even doing all that, we have the outcome defined. And what is the end product? For example, this is a screenshot as on today from the web page of redhat.com training catalog for a course called Red Hat System Administration 2. This is a level 2 program for system administration. And we have the outcome defined on the web page. Hey, if you take this course as a group, as a team, as a company, as an organization, what is that you can expect from this program? And if you are an individual looking for this course, what is that you gain? You should be able to perform the key tasks needed to become a full-time Linux administrator. So the outcome of this program itself is that we have a technical person who may not be well versed with Linux or Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And the outcome of this course is that it can give you adequate skills to become a full-time Linux administrator. So I wanted to show you how a finished product outcome would look like from a web page like this, which is public right now, or even a course which is under development. Now comes our part, right? I mean, as instructors, as facilitators for these programs, for these teaching or training programs. Sorry. What is that we as instructors should do, and what is expected of us? So what I thought was that, these are some screenshots from our instructor guide. We do have training for Red Hat instructors, and these are some screenshots from the instructor guide which we offer to our trainers. We have a bunch of Red Hat certified instructors who are qualified to deliver Red Hat training to our customers, be it enterprise customers, be it retail customers, be it Red Hat Academy students who are technical school students. So in the content delivery aspect, I thought it makes sense, rather than me talking, it makes sense to give you a few screenshots of what we actually talk about in our training guide, in our instructor guide, when we talk to our instructors or to-be instructors, when we train them. Now, we make it very clear that you instructors are no success coaches. You're not here to make somebody pass an exam. And if you look at this diagram here, just like I started off in the beginning, we are responsible for building courses, the content, the curriculum. We are also responsible for building another product, which is the certification exam. And if you look at this picture, even if you do not want to read through what is the text which is underneath the picture, the course is designed to develop some skills on a specific technology at a specific level of expertise. The exam is also developed, and its intention is to validate the skills. But the relationship here, a course is not actually leading you to pass an examination. That's not the idea. A course is building some skills for you. An exam is built for validating the skills. Taking a course doesn't mean that you will pass that associated certification exam. Well, I'll come to certification exam in a bit, but just for an introduction, as you know that there are certification exams as well. The certification exams are certification exams are aligned with a training program which we have. For example, if we have a system administration level 1 training program, we do have an examination aligned with that. Now, that doesn't mean that taking a program will make you pass the examination. Why? Because we don't teach the exam questions, if you may use that word. We never use that word called exam questions, because our exams are not just question answer based exams. So taking the course, though building the course, we have two different teams, which is responsible for building curriculum and responsible for building exam. They work hand in hand, but they are not the same team because they are not building the same product. A course is built for keeping in mind what skills and what is the outcome which we would like to have a taker of the course achieve. So that is the course. An instructor is supposed to deliver the course, right? Now, instructor, when delivering the course, is responsible for imparting those skills which is meant to be the final outcome of that training program. That doesn't mean that instructor has got the responsibility, nor it is an expectation from the instructor that he or she will teach a course and it is guaranteed that that student will pass the examination. No. That is what is meant by Red Hat instructors are no success coaches. They do not teach for the sake of somebody passing the examination. Now, you will definitely have a question there. So how is this examination built then? What is being asked in the examination? I will come to the definition of a Red Hat certification exam and the attributes and characteristics of Red Hat examination in a while later. But the idea of examination getting aligned with the course is that you have a whole lot of concepts and skills which has been taught or which has been imparted in a training. Only a subset, let's say 15 topics are being taught. This is just a number for the sake of an example. If 15 topics are being taught in a course, maybe 6 or 7 among them would be tested inside an examination. So exam requirements, we don't call it questions. And that's why I say you may just call it questions, but we never call it questions because Red Hat exams are not the solutions to the Red Hat examination is not hypothetical in nature. So we don't ask questions. It's more of application of the skills which you have learned from a course and apply those skills in a scenario, in a real world scenario which is built inside the examination. And that's why we call it a hands-on scenario based examination. An examination, taking a course really doesn't guarantee that you pass the examination, right? So we can't blame the instructor that if somebody takes a course and they don't pass the exam, you can't blame the instructor because instructors are not supposed to be success coaches who are labeled as you come to me, I'll make you pass the exam. No, that's not the intent. So the idea here is that impart the skills, the required skills, as long as the learner has understood the technology, has grasped it, has understood where it has to be applied. Maybe a 60 hours program is the course. Maybe the content which is covered in 20-25 hours may have to be applied in an examination. So that's the difference between the course and the exam, and there is no relationship between, or a direct relationship between the passing of an exam and how the course is taken. If the learner has got the real motivation to understand what is behind it, why do I learn this, what would I gain when I finish this course? If the learner has got that motivation, I'm sure that learner would have tried all the different aspects which have been taught in that course, and she will stand a better chance to pass the examination. And that's how it works. So yet another, this is also borrowed from the instructor guide, which we use when we train our trainers. We call it T3 programs, train the trainer programs. So when we train our trainers, it's actually a huge program. It's this thick manual which we use when we talk about train the trainer program. But this is an interesting thing, right? So this is about how do we teach a concept or or part of a content from a course. The first thing is that instructors are supposed to motivate the learners. WIIFM stands for what is in it for me. So what's in it for me is a question which a learner would ask. One fine morning, you're all fired up, charged up, you're enthusiastic, and then step into your classroom and then start talking about, let's say, storage management. You are excited about it because you know that subject, you know that technology, and you're super interested because it is one of your major uh, uh, interests. You are very much updated about the latest happenings in the storage world. It could be network attached storage, it could be whatnot, whatever you could think of in storage. But you know what, the learner may not be that interested in that because he may not or she may not have the same enthusiasm as you have. So as an instructor, what we believe is that, first of all, make your students or make your learners motivated about, or make them understand about what's in it for me. So the outcome definition really doesn't stop at the entire course level. If we go a little more detailed into how Red Hat programs are designed, we definitely start off by having an outcome defined for a course, but it doesn't stop there. We have an outcome for each chapter. So when we start building the content, each chapter will have an outcome, and the chapters will have sections, and each section will have an outcome defined, saying that, hey, when you deal with the user management as the entire chapter, but the user account creation as a section of that chapter, what's the outcome of it? As a system administrator who is dealing with a multi-user server-side operating system like Linux, there are multiple users who may log in into a server and have the resources being split and shared. So what you're going to talk about here in this chapter is about how do you manage the users in the first place? How do you create multiple users in an operating system? And then that will lead you to the bigger picture of a multi-user management inside a data center. And try to visualize, and the learner will try to visualize that as a, let's say, 15,000 member organization, and the user management is done by this system administrator. So that's how the outcome, and that's how the instructors will have to really motivate the learners about what's in it for you. Then we present. And we don't believe in long lectures. We call it, in our words, we call it lecturettes. It's maybe a 5 minutes, and it's mostly not talking. It's mostly about the instructor demonstrating the concepts using a terminal, using a console. It's been projected on the wall, and then the learners are looking at it. Oh, wow, this is how she does it. This is how my teacher does it. And that is how it works, right? So there is a presentation, and then comes the application. So you don't stop there, right, demonstrating it, right? So and if you look at the structure of the course, we don't believe in like half a day full of lecture and then they go to the labs and do. No, that's not how it works. A typical Red Hat training, an instructor is hands-on working on a system which is an implementation, installation of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, if I take sysadmin as an example. And each learner would also have her own environment, which is built in the same way. And the facilitator or the instructor presents a concept, a bit of a technology, and then immediately the learners turn to their workstations and they apply it. And we call them the guided exercises. I will talk about that in a while. But as a starter, those who are finding a concept a little difficult, maybe just a presentation will not make them hands-on to perform the entire activity, whatever has been taught in the last 50, whatever has been demonstrated by the instructor in the last 15 minutes. So they need a little bit of hand-holding. And so the application of the concepts which are presented and demonstrated by the instructor is applied by the learner, but in a more of a step-by-step guided format, and they apply it. And they run a script, or they talk to the instructor, they discuss, and they give feedback to the instructor in terms of, hey, you know what, this is where I missed that step and it didn't work as expected. So that becomes a discussion in the classroom. So motivate, present, the learner applies it, we have the feedback shared, discussed, and then there is an assessment. So the assessment is more of At the end of every section inside a chapter, you have a guided exercise, more of an elaborate description of this is what you should do. At the end of a chapter, which could be like 2 or 3 sections put together form a chapter, end of the chapter, there is a lab exercise, which is more of a scenario kind of exercise, not as descriptive as the guided exercise. And then take a feedback again. So this loop continues section after section, chapter after chapter through the entire course, for which we need to have an outcome for every section. We need to have an outcome defined for every chapter. We need to have an outcome defined, hence, for the entire course. So this makes it very interesting. Not long lectures. Sometimes our teaching methods, some of the teaching methods which we follow, one of them is more of the instructor or the facilitator is just a facilitator. She will just encourage people to talk. We sometimes call it a fishbowl activity. Talk about a content or a topic which was to be discussed, and then from there the instructor takes it to the next level. So the expertise of the instructor in that specific technology will inspire the learner. It will motivate them, and they feel really impressed by the instructor's skills on that technology, and they get all the more charged up. And that's how it works. Learning has to be made interesting, and it is interesting when somebody is motivated about it, and when they really apply it and see it with their own eyes, touch it with their own hands, and feel that they themselves have done it. It's not just about reading something, assuming that, oh, the screenshot looks like this, so I am assuming that this would have come this way if I executed this. No assumptions. Do it, feel it, and then learn. So that's how it works. So some of the assessment methods, right, which I have told, which I was just mentioning in the learning loop in the previous slide. Guided exercise at the end of every smaller sections within a chapter. So learners will practice, they skill. Maybe they do the mob programming. These days, mob programming is an in thing, right? It's fashionable. Developers sit together on a table, use one single console, and they do the mob programming. It's one of the DevOps practices. And we have the lab exercise, which is an environment setup, and then it's a scenario kind of thing. Given, hey, you have done all these previous sections on a specific topic, maybe you should think of putting all that concepts together, apply it in a more do it your own way rather than a detailed step-by-step instruction. Of course, this will also have the solutions available, so that if the learner wants to refer back to it, they could do it. A timed drill. This is very essential, especially when you come from an IT background. You understand how critical it is to solve a problem within the next 30 minutes, because something is burning, something is a Sev1 incident, and your customers are really annoyed, and you don't have all the time in the world to fix that problem, right? So the skills are to be applied, and it's not just about take your own time and apply the skill. It also has to be done in such a way that, okay, it's a timed drill. You have 25 minutes to solve this problem, else your company is going to be sued for $1 million. So that makes it really a burning issue, right? So it also has to be performed in such a way that the skill is not just about knowing, comprehending, and then doing stuff, but it's also about how quickly and how correctly you can do it. That's all about the curriculum aspect of it. Now comes the assessment, the certification. And I'm on my 48th minute, so I may have another 10 minutes or so. So this, I will end up very quickly. So when it comes to the assessment of it, whatever I have been talking about was the course, the training program, and the outcome which is defined, and which is how we start developing the content. But I also mentioned in one of the slides that the course and exam are two different things. They are not, simply put, we don't teach a course to make somebody pass the exam, which I've already told you, right? So I'm not repeating that again. Now, how about exam? How difficult it is, or how special it is? Certification exams from Red Hat are performance-based. There are not even one single examination which asks a question, and the learner will have to read the question and understand something from the way the question is presented and choose an option from multiple options which are given, which could possibly be the right answer. No, it's not a multiple choice based exam. All exams are performance based. Now, the difficulty of the tasks which is or the test which is performed or which is being done in every exam, it depends on the difficulty level of the technology, the expertise level on which you are tested on. Maybe a level 1 system administrator exam may not be that complicated when compared with a level 4 performance tuning, uh, uh, an operating system performance tuning certification, right? So that depends on what level of expertise is being tested, what level of skill is being tested. But no matter what level, be it level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, the certification exams are all performance based. Now, what's the big deal about it, right? If you may think so, it's actually a big deal. Think about it. Even though you know that I'm again taking the example of user administration, which is one of the major responsibilities of a system administrator who manages a data center. Now, we may know that there is a command which can be used. There are some options or flags which can be used along with that command to create a user in a specific way. We may have read about it. We may have the soft copies, the PDFs, the user documentation of that tool which is used. But that really doesn't match, or that really doesn't come at par with somebody who says that, hey, take this machine, go create 3 users with such and such usernames, with such and such passwords, with such and such user permissions and rights of access to the operating system, with their home folders at different locations, with a quota set for each of them to consume, let's say, 500 MB of disk space versus the other guy gets more privileges, maybe to do a bit of system administration or privileged access to the system, and also have a larger quota of system usage. Rather than writing these steps on a piece of paper, how brilliant it would be to ask somebody to give a system and perform that and give it to us. And then we sit and evaluate. Well, all 3 users created, the usernames are matching, the quota settings are working, the folders, the home folders are in the expected locations. Check, 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 all good. This is how performance-based exams work. It's as simple as that. We certify somebody saying that at a level 1 expertise, this gentleman has performed these activities, and not just performed these activities, have performed these activities within, let's say, 90 minutes of time or 180 minutes of time. And that makes the difference, right? So that makes the real difference of performance-based versus mugging something up, putting it on a paper, write it down, and then somebody reads and analyzes it and says that, reads and evaluates it and says that, well, this guy is a super system administrator. So that is point number 1. These exams provide, as I said, right, multiple competency levels. It could be for a level 1 skill, level 2 skills. It's testing by doing, as I've already told, and it's real world tasks. It's not that simple, straightforward, which is not very hypothetical in nature. So it is more of, you have heard about the Bloom's taxonomy and stuff like that over the last few days. This is more of, understanding, comprehending a situation, analyzing it, and applying it. So, I'm sure you would have heard Mr. Nambudri talking about the practical engineers. I would definitely stand by these folks who are really practical engineers who can perform these actions. And being certified, maybe my customer, my enterprise customer, as a prospective employer to this certified professional, at least that person can guarantee that, hey, this level of expertise, skills, I have performed myself, and Red Hat has certified me for doing that. And that's how the assessment works. Now, of course, the last point, it's not easy. Performance-based examination, especially when it is timed, you have to perform these many tasks and you have to score a 70% to pass the examination. That's the passing percentage of scores which we are looking at. On 300, we expect people to have 210, score of 210 to pass the exam. So it's not easy. And I would say, based on my personal experience, these exams would have become easy if the time has been extended for maybe a couple of more hours. That's not how it works. It is timed, and that makes it a little difficult. So it's not easy, and that is why it is still highly regarded in the industry. So I think I'll wind up with a simple message which I would like to leave with you before I open it up for questions, if you have any. Hands-on certifications or hands-on training, learning by doing, outcome-based learning. I think I've covered many aspects of how we build, design our course, curriculum, content, etc. So the relevance of these kind of training programs is very high in our technical schools today. Well, we have to think of not writing a table of Class A, Class B, Class C IP addresses. We are looking at people, even if they are at technical schools, knowing about what is an IP address and applying it in a real production environment. And that's how it works. So I'm a great advocate of having these kind of outcome-based and practical-oriented hands-on training programs, so that they feel it and learn it. That's very relevant for our technical schools. You would have learned about the recent UGC notification saying that the partnership between academy and industry relevant courses and industry accredited courses to be included in the curriculum. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm on travel. I'm on the road for last 10 days, and then I'm in one of the best universities in South India. And why am I here for? They have included Red Hat's Java Enterprise Level 1 program into their BTech curriculum, and I'm here to deliver certification exams for their students. Or the host of this program, Marian College, is one classic example of a long partnership with Red Hat for many years now. And I know how well they have integrated these courses at different expertise levels, of course, into their curriculum. So there are many success stories. I think the best person or best set of people who can give it, I think Ms. Rennie is coming after me to talk to you about the implementation, how this has been, the outcome-based education has been implemented in their syllabus, in their institution. So there are many success stories. So in case if you are interested in knowing more about how the technology, the Red Hat technology-based outcome-based education, or these kind of programs can be incorporated into your own curriculum and teaching programs, I think you could get in touch with Dr. Mendes or the MCA department of Marian College to understand how could they do it successfully, and how do they keep doing it successfully, and how do they get high placement rates for their students. But all I got to say is that you should really feel it. You should understand. You yourself should feel it first, and that makes you more interested in in having OBE achieved. And that's all I have. Thank you.